Is your side hustle a hobby or a business for tax purposes? If you have a side hustle or you are earning some extra income outside of your day job, then this question must be answered in order to correctly prepare your tax return. By the end of this video, you should be able to confidently answer this question. Please like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel so that you're notified when new videos come out. Thanks for watching. There are a lot of reasons people earn extra income outside of their day job. The tax code says that all income from whatever source derived is reportable taxable income unless there is a specific exclusion stated in the tax code. So let me first say that it doesn't matter if you lose money or if you get paid in cash. This side hustle income is reportable on your tax return. Also, there's no minimum threshold to reach before it has to be reported. So why does it matter if your side hustle is a business or a hobby? Both are reportable, but how you report them is different, and the taxes on the income is going to be different as well. Here's the big picture difference. Business income is subject to income tax and it's subject to self-employment tax. Hobby income is only subject to income tax. Businesses can deduct any ordinary and necessary expenses incurred to generate that income. Hobbies, under current tax law in 2023, can only deduct the cost of goods sold and can only deduct that up to but not exceeding the income. That means a hobby cannot report a loss even if expenses exceed income, whereas a business can. If a taxpayer has expenses in excess of income, they probably would want business treatment to be able to deduct all of those expenses and report a loss on their tax return. The IRS would be very concerned on making sure this is a legitimate business before letting you deduct that loss. On the other hand, someone with net income might want to treat their activity as a hobby in order to avoid paying self-employment tax on the income. The IRS would be quite concerned about this illegal avoidance of tax if your activity is in fact a business and not a hobby. Now that we have the big picture in mind, how do you determine if your side hustle is a hobby or a business? Unfortunately, there is no bright line or black and white test. There are several factors that you must consider in order to make a proper determination. After considering these factors, more often than not, it will be fairly obvious whether your side hustle is a hobby or a business for tax purposes. Here are the 10 things taxpayers must consider when determining if an activity is a hobby or a business. Number 1, whether the activity is carried out in a business-like manner and the taxpayer maintains complete and accurate books and records. Now, I recommend that everyone keep good records for tax purposes, whether they have a hobby or a business. However, the lack of treating your activity with the proper respect that you should treat a business with could point towards the activity being a hobby and not a true business. Number 2, whether the time and effort the taxpayer puts into the activity show that they intend to make it profitable. Intent to profit is a necessity of any business activity. You might ask why someone would not have an intent to profit. Well, one example is a taxpayer who likes to golf. They enjoy trying out a lot of different golf clubs, so they purchase and sell a lot of clubs. This activity would exceed that of someone simply selling a few clubs now and then at a yard sale. They are buying and selling clubs on a regular basis, but they don't have any intent to profit. They simply are recouping some of the cost of their golfing hobby. Another example might be someone that has a beekeeping hobby. Perhaps they make some honey for themselves, but also sell honey to their neighbors. They're probably trying to recoup some of the cost incurred, but they don't have any intention of actually making a profit on the activity as a whole. So you have to have an intent to profit, and since intent is nearly impossible to prove, the IRS would look at the time and the effort put towards the activity and whether or not it looks like there is an intent to profit or not. Number 3, whether they depend on income from the activity for their livelihood. If you depend on the income, it's more likely a business than a hobby. Number 4, whether any losses are due to circumstances beyond the taxpayer's control or are normal for the startup phase of their type of business. Businesses do lose money, so the lack of making a profit is not a determining factor on its own. However, it has to make sense as to why there's a loss and not a profit. Many businesses lose money in the startup phase, so that alone will not cause your activity to be treated as a hobby. Number 5, whether they change methods of operation to improve profitability. If you have a profit motive and you aren't making a profit, most rational people would make some changes in order to try to make a profit. So the lack of adjustment in a failing activity would likely point to a lack of profit motive to begin with. Number 6, whether the taxpayer and their advisors have the knowledge needed to carry out the activity as a successful business. If you lack the proper advisors or skill or knowledge necessary to carry out the activity as a successful business, it points more towards a hobby activity. At the very least, it shows poor judgment as to the selection of what your side hustle is. Now, number 7, whether the taxpayer was successful in making a profit in similar activities in the past. Again, the IRS is trying to discern if there is intent and reasonable belief that the activity can be profitable. Number 8, whether the activity makes a profit in some years and how much profit does it make. Look, making a profit is a great way to show a profit motive. However, if you show a $10 profit one year and then several years of thousands of dollars of losses, it can definitely appear as though you showed a minimal profit in an attempt to prove a profit motive when there really isn't one. Number 9, whether the taxpayers can expect to make a future profit from the appreciation of the assets used in the activity. And number 10, does the activity have elements of personal pleasure or recreation? As I mentioned before, there is no black and white answer here. Generally speaking, I think it will become fairly clear if you objectively look at all the facts and circumstances. You don't want to get caught deducting expenses that are not business expenses or reporting income that should be subject to self-employment tax as hobby income. Consider the facts and report your activity correctly. This will bring you peace of mind, which is worth far more than a few dollars of illegitimate tax savings. If you found this video helpful, please share it with others so that they can report their side hustle activity correctly as well. Thanks for watching.